What up, everybody? Just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who's supported Lockdown Universe for the past 3 years. I really appreciate you. And if you've been thinking about a way to support, but you didn't have $1.99 to support for each month, that is okay. If you want to just buy me a coffee, there's an option for you to just buy me a coffee inside the description of each episode moving forward. So just highlight that, put it in your browser. You can go right there and buy me a coffee or 2 or 3. I like coffee. Who doesn't? And I would really appreciate it. And it would keep me awake enough to make more podcasts for you guys. So I would appreciate that. And just wanted to let you know. Thanks for that. And thanks for supporting the podcast. Let's get to the show. What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are doing excellent and taking care of yourselves. How are y'all doing today? Hopefully you're doing excellent. Hopefully you guys are enjoying some sunshine today as we move into the summertime here in the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. They may be moving into fall and winter. But yes, it's enjoyable here in North America, and we're going to bring you an excellent podcast today. So, this particular podcast is titled Death Does Not Exist and is related to parallel universes. So, that's actually one of the titles from an article that I located on newsintact.com. Pretty interesting, and it has some scientific evidence to back it up. So let's take a look, shall we? So 1954, a student from Princeton University out of New Jersey came out with a jarring statement. The young Hewitt Everett III claims that there exists a multitude of parallel dimensions and universes out there that are all derived from one another, including our own. Now, I think at the beginning we have to differentiate what's a dimension and what's a universe. In my mind, they could be the same or they could be different. A dimension, most people claim that we are in the third dimension or density. So the next dimension or density will be the fourth dimension, will be a lighter dimension. So the higher up in the dimensions you go, or the less the density is. That's what some people say. Others might say a different dimension might be something totally different than what we're experiencing here on Earth. It could be a hellish dimension. It could be a heavenly dimension. It could be a totally different ballgame. Universes, on the other hand, to me, seem to be that we're in one universe with you in it. And myself. And then in another universe, you and I would be there as well, but you might have a different profession. I might be a lawyer. You might be, in the military. You might be retired. You might be a millionaire and created Google. The idea of a different universe to me is that most of what we see on Earth is the same, except maybe ourselves and our position in life has changed. Just my theory. Just my understanding from the things that I've read. I could be totally wrong. But let's keep going on with this article. The main difference between the parallel universes, according to Hugh Everett, who went to Princeton, a student back then in 1954, the main difference between them would be the wars that have occurred so far. They would change the outcome of any world and would change the history as we know it, which is what he believes has happened on parallel worlds. So he also claims that life must have ended in at least a few of these universes, as total annihilation from nuclear bombs would have been a definite possibility. His theory, he states that he hasn't followed through on this theory, and no one else has followed through on it since 1954. But in 2003, through an experiment conducted by NASA themselves, it appears as though we have actual proof of parallel universes. Very interesting. Let's take a look here. So, an experiment named the Antarctic Transitive Impulse Antenna, or ANITA for short, discovered ghostly particles that fill our universe, which was the complete opposite of our normal ones. Very interesting. They were so different that even time appeared to move backward through them, which is why they were concluded to be particles from a parallel universe. Now, that's really interesting to me. And I'm always amazed because I always come up across these different articles all the time, and they have so many different pieces of info. Um, but could you imagine being a scientist and coming across some particle and it looks like time is moving backwards with it? I don't know how to explain that. How do you explain that? Is it just a natural occurrence, or is it proof positive that there's another universe out there that they were able to somehow identify, somehow measure, and capture uh, the, the the instrumentation and the calculations of it. That's what I always find fascinating about science, right? Is that we developed infrared, right, early on, and we have now night vision. We have all these different military um, you know optics that they use that we couldn't see before. They even talk about the chronovisor as being this tool that's was developed in Italy by the Vatican, and then the United States government also apparently has one as well that can see through the gases of energy of time. So if you look at one particular spot, you'll be able to see what happened as you tune in this chronovisor, and as you change the dial, you'll be changing through the years and the days and times and even minutes. So you'll be able to see what happens in this one particular viewpoint. It's really fascinating. I mean, if this thing really exists, it's just like totally mind blowing. Like, could you imagine just looking at one spot and seeing all these different events taking place throughout the annals of time? I mean, it's just mind blowing. Anyway, so they had this experiment, the Anita experiment, where they found these particular particles that appeared to be moving backwards in time. This mirror world was affirmed by Robert Lanza in 2016 as he claimed that through a process known as biocentrism, our bodies may die, but our consciousness lives on in a separate universe altogether. Our minds travel at quantum level, which allows it to traverse, I should say, traverse from one universe to another. Now, now we're getting into a different realm of discussion here. We're talking about consciousness and its levels and abilities to be at two places at once, both here in the physical world, here on Earth, and then also in a different area of the world, different time periods of this world, maybe even going outside of this world and outside of the solar system, being able to see what's happening in other areas. Now we're kind of talking about that remote viewing, and we're talking about, kind of like bilocation. So, and it feeds into the quantum physics ideas of uh, basically quantum level, right? We talk about the action at a spooky or spooky action at a distance. Albert Einstein's theory, right, of quantum mechanics, where one particle can affect another particle from a distance, as long as they're the same. They're born of the same cloth, right? So it's your mind, your entity, your being able to see at a distance and interact at length, right, from far away. So is that a separate universe, or is it the same universe? That's where it gets a little tricky. Um, so I watched this movie called Parallels. I think it was on Netflix or Amazon Prime a while back. I don't know where it's at now. But if you get a chance to watch that movie, it's really fantastic. Basically, it has these three folks that are kind of use this building almost. It's kind of like this top secret building. They go into it, and when they go into it, I think they accidentally trip some lever, and the whole building basically moves from one universe or one Earth to another Earth. when it does that, the next Earth is completely different, right? Some Earths are like completely shattered and annihilated from war. Some are futuristic and have all this sci-fi stuff, and then the people are peaceful, and there's like all these rules and laws. And then some are like ours, and that there's all this graffiti that's written all over in the building. After they get back in different levels to say, have you been to Earth 17? Have you been to Earth 1? Where is Earth 1? It's really really fascinating concepts, but that's what I think of when I think of different universes. I don't think of a different dimension as being the same as a different universe. I think like those guys were going through parallel universes. That's my perspective. I might be totally wrong. I mean, you could call it what you want, right? I mean, when it comes down to it, it's just words. But um, that's my idea. So it looks as though science has come to prove that there is some multiple universe theory out there, that it exists, that it's real, that it's possible. Um, can we get to it? That's a tough thing to say, right? I mean, unless we find ourselves in a Doctor Who TARDIS machine or the humongous building that's in parallels, I don't know if we'll be able to get there without a lot more technology. Uh, we do have some very interesting tech through the government, such as jump rooms that have been talked about by Andrew Basiago, and many others. But will we be able to go to another dimension yet? Tough to say. I don't know. I mean, that's why we do these podcasts, to talk about it and find folks that may have been there or may have seen something that's been there. So I'll leave it at that. I thought it was an interesting article. I will pull up another really interesting topic to discuss with you guys, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, a fantastic night, wherever you are. Hope you guys are being happy, healthy, staying positive, staying strong, physically, mentally, spiritually, following through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams, and as always, continue to question the universe around you. Take care of yourselves. Love you guys, and keep questioning the universe. Till next time, Lockdown Universe out.